of my message today is a time to dance. Oh, I can see it right here. Perfect. Expressions of worship. So this was really fun. Like, I knew a lot of this stuff. Like, it was all in my head, but it did take me a little while to kind of make it cohesive. I kind of feel like Tara, like being a teacher, and like I'm doing it all well. Like, you can tell me later if I did good with my teaching. So, all right. So anyway, so today I'm going to talk about the importance of worship dance, how it's used in spiritual warfare, and the instruments we can use. Of course, we're used to these instruments and Chantel's beautiful voice, but there's more instruments we can use for worship and through dance. And dance is not just being a ballerina up here. That's way more than dance. Dance just means movement, just moving your body however way you can. So a fun fact, I looked this up. Clinical studies have shown the positive effects of dance for both physical and your mental health. Shocking. One study was using an MRI scan, and it showed that even people watching dance, visually watching dance, activated the same neurons that would fire if they themselves were dancing. Let's think about that. So how many of you, by raising your hands, enjoyed watching the kids worshiping this morning? It's fantastic. It was awesome. Now the next question is, how many of you felt something different this morning with the new flags and the streamers and all the colors? Did it feel a little bit different today? I felt it. I don't know if you guys did, but it felt different. Like worship and using different instruments changes the atmosphere. And it can change, of course, the kids, they just do it without even thinking because they can't be self-conscious. But us adults, we get a little bit in our boxes or whatever. So today we're going to learn how to kind of get out of our boxes a little bit. If you don't want to, that's okay. You're going to be getting out of it anyways at the end. Just giving you a heads up on that. Also, the Bible talks about dance both individually and corporately as a powerful expression of worship and celebrating God's presence. That's why we worship, to get into his presence, for us to love on him and for him to love on us. It's a two-way street. So worship dance helps to activate the body of Christ, which is you guys, into deeper levels of worship. So when someone is dancing up here, dancing once again, it's not weird stuff. It's just moving your body. I'm just going to use the word dance for movement, just moving your body. And it is a powerful expression for worshiping and celebrating his presence. So who is the wisest person ever to walk this earth? Well, I mean, besides Jesus. Sorry, it's a king. King Solomon, yes, he was the wise. Yes, Jesus was the wise. I wasn't expecting you guys to be that smart. Yes, the non-Jesus, most wisest person to walk the earth. It's King Solomon. You guys got me on that one. It looked a lot better on paper, but then you guys got me on that one. All right, so King Solomon, even he said, he was so wise. He knew everything. He even said, there is a time to dance. So in Ecclesiastes 3, 1 and 4, if you can throw that one up there. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. Imagine that. Dropping stuff. All right, so let's learn more about it. And that's how to do it. So as I said earlier, about 20 years ago, I was watching worship dance for the first time. I grew up in church my whole life. I have loved Jesus my whole life. But the churches I went to, they didn't do flags and dance or whatever. So I was part of this church. I was in my early 20s, and this person had flags, and they're running around and doing stuff. And I'm like, what's that feeling? I'd never seen it. I wasn't judging and thinking the lady was crazy. Well, maybe a little. But I was just like, wow, that is so cool. I want to do that. So, it kind of just, it's like I said, it stirred something within me. Just watching little, Abigail and Bella, it does something to you, or whatever. And so it was like the first time I'd seen someone do it in public. And so it kind of changed things. Now, when it stirred something deep within me, I wanted to pursue worship in different ways. And like I said, worship dance is more than just dancing like a ballerina. Just get that out of your head. It is movement. It is instruments. It is flags and mattahs. And we'll get into the mattahs in just a second. So the first Bible reference to corporate dance in worship involved over 1 million people the first time. I don't know about you, not many concerts are over 1 million people. Can you imagine 1 million people? There's not even 1 million people in our county. Like, I don't think there's even 1 million people. So just imagine, let's just say all of Port St. Lucie and all of Fort Pierce all at one time dancing and worshiping the Lord. Can you imagine the atmosphere change with that? Like, that's a lot of people, and it would be super awesome. But the coolest thing is, for the very first corporate dance and worship, it was led by a lady who was over 85 years old. Okay? So, Exodus 15, 20, and 21. Then Miriam, the prophet, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her with timbrels and dancing, and Miriam's song to them was, "Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted." I don't know when I'm 85. I know Bible times people lived slightly longer, but when I'm 85, if I got to lead 1 million people in dance, I would think I have arrived. Like, that would be pretty cool, So this brother-sister duo of Moses and Miriam led the greatest worship service ever conducted. 1 million people. Like, that's insane. They did it on the banks of the Red Sea as they watched the Egyptians being taken over by the water. So, this is really cool. So 430 years of oppression was broken. Do you think if your people were oppressed for 430 years, do you think you'd be doing some dancing? Do you think you'll be doing more than just sitting there saying, "Hi, God. Good job, God"? Like, you would be doing some movements of your body. So with this worship service, they went from slavery to freedom. They went from oppression to deliverance. They went from poverty to abundance. Now, that's a transformation dance I want to be a part of. I mean, I need all of that in my life. So in Exodus 20:40, get this. This is really cool once it pops up. Now, the time that the sons of Israel lived in Egypt was 430 years. And at the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. Did you guys know that? Like, from the time when the Exodus happened, it was exactly 430 years. Like, that's so cool. Like, God, he's perfect timing. Like, he knows how to do things in the craziest timing. We just are a little bit slow in figuring that his timing is the best timing. So, Israel knew how to dance through the oppression, and they knew that it would change the outcome of their circumstances. So gosh, why don't we do it? Why don't we do it more often? So in Jeremiah 31:13, I'm flying through these, Mark. Come on, let's go. I'm doing fast. All right. So the young women will dance and be glad, young men and old as well. I will turn their mourning into gladness. I will give them comfort and joy instead of sorrow. All right, so who in here is young? Who in here is old? All right, that should be everybody. We're one or the other, all right? I mean, how many men do we got in here? Raise your hand if you're a man. Raise your hand if you're a woman. There you go. That covers everybody. So it says he will turn your mourning into gladness. Who needs their mourning turned into gladness? I do. All right, so this is where we're activating. We're moving our bodies a little bit. We're practicing for later. All right, who needs the Lord to give them comfort and joy instead of sorrow? All right, so good. See, we're praising and you don't even know it. You guys are doing great here. See, you guys are going to be worshiping more than you're ever going to know in the next few minutes. All right, so what does the Bible say about spiritual warfare? Because worship dance is directly correlated to spiritual warfare. All right, Ephesians 6:12. I might have more verses than Mark. I think someone needs to test that. I think I have a lot of verses. I think I'm pulling out my inner Mark here of just doing lots of verses here. But it kind of helps flow everything. All right, 6:12. It says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places." Ephesians 6:12. So the struggle is not against your nosy neighbor. It's not, I know, right? It's not against your gossiping coworker. It's not, the people sitting next to you, the people in your life, that they're not the enemy. It's the forces behind that are trying to ruin our lives. All right, 2 Corinthians 10:3-4. "For though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh," keep on saying it's not of the flesh, "but have divine power to destroy strongholds." James 4:7, "Submit therefore to God, but resist the devil, and he will flee from you." All right, so it's not against the people you're in contact with, right? It's not against your family members that are just trying to push your last button. That they are not your enemy. It's not the person, it's not your boss, it's not this, it's not that. It is the enemy who is trying to use other people to bother you, to make you go into different directions, but it's not the people. So don't get mad at the people that are in your life. Get mad at the enemy. And we're going to show you with all this stuff how you can do spiritual warfare, because there's two different realms. Who has seen the movie The Matrix? It's a really old movie. Everyone has probably seen The Matrix. It's two different worlds, and the people in the world don't know that they're in the Matrix, but they really are. And then people who took, the different colored pill, I don't remember which one it was, they're awakened and they're their eyes are open. We're in that. The spiritual realm is real. It is real, and you can close your eyes all day long to it, but it's still there. So we have to learn how to fight spiritual with spiritual, and then we can go from there. All right, so the enemy is constantly whispering lies into your ears, telling you a million things, like you're a failure. And so the enemy's also trying to whisper those lies into our children and teenagers. Children and teenagers have it way worse now than we ever did, because they have their cell phones. My kids even have cell phones. And everything is at their fingertips, trying to get them away from the Word of God, away from who He is. So we, as parents, as guardians, as grandparents, we have to protect them. And how do we do that? Weapons of our warfare, right here. And we do it in the spiritual realm, all right? So, as I said before, the spiritual realm is real, no doubt about that. So in order to fight back, we have to fight back in the spirit realm. Many different ways to do spiritual warfare, lots of different ways. We're not going to go into all of them today. We can do it through songs. Chantel does a fantastic job. We can do it through instruments. We can do it through pianos and drums. I absolutely love a killer drum player, because they can do some beats that you're just feeling it, it's just really, really awesome. But we're not getting that today. But we're going to go through how worship dance, once again, worship movement with flags and mattahs can be so powerful. See, I've already gotten through only 2 pieces of paper. We are doing good here. But I am going to have to take a little drink here for half a second, because I'm talking a lot. All right, so let's do some history. Who likes history in school? Did anybody like history? Jen was the first person. She loved history. Yes, I loved history. I love knowing the background and stuff. And biblical history is so interesting. So interesting. So I'm going to grab this. All right. You get a bonus point if you can tell me what this is called. Raise your hand. A mattah. Good job. All right, so we're going to talk about this. And the cool thing about this mattah, now the mattahs I grew up with, they didn't have the little rubber stoppers. Yes, I think, because I did hear from a little birdie that Lisa really, really, really with force likes to pound the mattah. And so that's a really smart idea. So when I saw that, I'm like, that's a good adaptation. Very great. All right, so this is called a mattah. Most churches that you randomly go to are not going to have these just hanging out. But the church I was a part of back in my 20s, we actually made these. And it was the first time I ever heard of them. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. So we're going to go some background detail on this. So a mattah is simply a staff, a rod, or something you can call a standard. All right. Oh, I already got my picture up there. Good job, Mark. Exodus 17:15 says, Moses had a staff, and when they were in battle, he would lift up his rod. There we go. He'd lift up his rod. As long as it was lifted, they were winning the battle. When his arms grew tired, Aaron and Hur came alongside him and lifted his arms. Beautiful picture of community. I love that picture. And the original standard was a rod without a cloth on top. That's important because we're going to go into that. So this was originally Moses' staff, but there was a symbolic power. The battle, the Israelites would win when it was straight up. And of course, eventually your arms are going to get tired. And so he had two people helping him. Beautiful, beautiful picture of how the Lord does amazing things. But that was basically the first mention of a mattah. I really like, this is fun. It echoes up here. No wonder Chantel doesn't like it when people are pounding up here. All right. In Numbers, let's see, 152. Numbers, probably skipped a verse because I just said it, but that's okay. I might not have it up there. You don't see it? Okay, that's fine. I might not have added it. You guys get a free verse without looking at it. All right, Numbers 152. The Lord instructed Moses to have the tribes set up their tent by divisions, each man in his own camp under his own standard, a standard in that could be set apart from the tribes of each other. So remember that 1,000,000-person dance that they did when they came out of the Exodus? Well, in reality, it was probably close to 2 million people that were left Egypt, and they're just roaming the desert for 40 years. 2 million. You know how many? That's a lot of people to be roaming around and doing things. So they had to separate them into tribes and be like, these are these people. These are the people of this. And so what they did was they would make a standard, and they would put ribbon. I'm not going to mess up my ribbons because Caitlin did such a good job. Here, we'll do this. Now, they would make, way back in the day, they would make this big ornate thing on top. We don't do that in modern days because it's just going to fall off. But they had let's see if I could just be really clever. There you go. We're just going to hold it like that. They had a ribbon. So let's say the tribe of Benjamin was blue and purple, whatever. And so when they rose up that standard, they'd be like, oh, all Benjamin people, come here. And so that's kind of how that worked out. Is it going to work? Okay. Good little impromptu-ness. And so Moses had each one make their own standard and their own individual staff. And so when they would raise it up, the people knew where to go to. That's pretty cool. They didn't have intercom systems. They didn't have group text. They didn't have an email saying, hey, meet us at the rock. So this was the easiest way to do it. So as I said, each tribe created the standards by taking a staff and carving the name on the tribe, a tribal symbol, or the names of the tribal leaders. And I will get into a second what we did on this one. Next, a piece of cloth was tied to the top of the tribal color. This was the first flag. Now, I'll let you guys know how hard and how long it took me to find this picture. I was going to draw it. That's how bad it was. But I eventually found this one at the 11th hour, and I was very excited. I'll explain this in just a second. So when a tribe would go into battle, they would go out with their standard before them. And when the wind blew, the archers could shoot their arrow more accurately. So they had their standard, which is the picture in front. And if you are... Who here has ever done archery? I have done it once at the women's conference with with Carrie, and I loved it. Like, I was like, I'm going to be an archer. I'm going to be a horseback riding archer. I'm going to be like the girl on Brave. Like, I was embracing it. It was super fun. But if you have, and I was going to use Jacob's bow and arrow, but he forgot to go get it out of his closet for me, and I forgot. But anyways, but the bow and arrows, because they didn't have machine guns back then. They didn't have tanks. They didn't have bombs. Like, they had bow and arrows, and so they would shoot. But the bow and arrow is it's a thin piece of wood with an arrow, and so like it would be blown by the wind. And so if they knew which way the direction was going with these ribbons that were flowing, then they would know, well, if it's blowing this way, then we need to do so many different degrees, or however way they do it. I don't know how they do it. But that's how the original flags and the streamers first began, which I thought that was super clever that someone, figured that one out. All right, so modern day mattahs, we don't have all the fancy stuff on it because it would just fall off. So what we do is that we will do a wood burner, which those are super fun, slightly dangerous, but very fun. And you will burn a standard into the top. Now, this could be the names of God. Like the ones that I did way back in the day, we did the different names of God. Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Jireh, stuff like that. You could also do, you can just, put in the wood God's faithfulness, His goodness, His joy, His peace, whatever it is. This particular one says victory. So that's actually a really good one. So if you are needing victory in your life over something, this is the thing for you. And it's very masculine. I know some guys have a slight issue of breaking out of their little box, grabbing a flag or a mattah. That box, I'm just telling you now, will be broken today. But I'm just saying, this is really cool. Victory is a good one. Or you can also use mattahs and flags and streamers to declare something over someone else's life, like a family member, like a child that is the prodigal child, or someone who is sick, or whatever it is, whatever your standard is, you're declaring in the spiritual realm victory over that. We also have 2 more mattahs over there, but I didn't want Lisa to get so excited and grab all of them during worship, so I did have those 2 over there. I think this was her favorite, so I did have it hidden, but this is, I know people. I know people, and they know people, and they told me these things, so. I am the pastor's wife, like, I do know a lot. So anyways, and so that is what we would do with the standard. And so it's very important, like, when you grab one. Now, I'm not too sure if those 2 have actual standards written on them, but you can just think of something, an aspect of God, keep it in your head, and then you can pound that. So that is a lot about mattahs. Mattahs are pretty fun. I generally don't allow kids to have too much free time with mattahs because they will probably slam their toes or your toes. If you guys think those flags are dangerous, give them a ginormous stick to wield, like weapons of warfare to a whole new level. So, so maybe we should keep these closer for. Now, I did know a church that had little teeny tiny mattahs for their kids, but I'm like, we're good. We'll just keep this for the big kids. We'll keep it for the big kids. All right, so that is our stuff with the mattahs. I will put this one down for right now. And then next, we're going to do the meaning of the flags and the streamers and the banners and the silks. But I'm going to have to drink. Hold on. Water. Drink water. Crazy people. I know. Is Caitlin? She's in the back. Jacob, do you want to be my helper? You want to be my helper? You do? Oh, Caitlin's coming. Okay. She wanted to be my helper in this. That way I don't have to leave this spot. All right. So there are lots of reasons to use flags and banners. Oh, all right. Good job, ladies. So there's lots of reasons of why we use flags and banners, but I just broke it down into 5 reasons. Caitlin, you can come up here. Or you can just sit in the front. Everyone's looking at you. I know. No direct eye contact with the human. There you go. So the first reason to use flags or banners is to identify the 12 tribes of Israel. That was the very beginning to identify. You can also use it to identify what in your life you're wanting to declare. And we will go into grand detail on the colors and what they mean in just a second. So when we go into activation phase, once again, a little heads up, you will know which color you would like to choose and what the meaning is. All right, the second one is to mark territory or boundaries. And so, this is a little bit, of course, I'm going to have to use a horse analogy, but when we have horses and electric fences, like we would tie a ribbon on the top because they can't really see the wire too much. And that way they would know, here are your boundaries and you can't go. Or my dog's shock collar, his little boundary was in ribbons. And so you can also use to mark territory or boundaries. The third one, used to signal battlefield movement. So once again, way back in the day, there's no tanks. There's no drones. There's nothing like that. They actually had to use them to signify which battle they're going to go into. When you're using a flag, symbolically, spiritually, you're moving it in a way you're basically in warfare you're warring against the things of this world that are trying to come against you. Depression, hopelessness, all the things. Number 5, they are used in war to judge the direction and the velocity of the wind, as the example I gave you guys with the bow and arrow. So, as believers, when we hold or wave a flag, we are inviting the Holy Spirit to the place of worship. Do you want to invite the Holy Spirit here? Yes, exactly. Why not? That's the best person to be here, right? So just like the mattah, we are declaring things with our flags. Caitlin, give me that, the blue and green one, the flag that's laying down over there. Yeah. Yes. So we did order as a church about 8 flags that are similar to this one. They are a flexible rod. I love it. Yes. So we will all have our eyes intact, and we don't get the children, knocking us out in the spirit. It won't hurt near. I even practiced on Pastor Rocky earlier this morning. I did kind of bop him, and he lived. So I think we're good. So I did order 4 of these in kid size and 4 of these in adult size. But as you see, it's super fun to it's really easy, just barely use your wrist. So these are borrowed from a friend, but we'll go into details of that. So we're going to give you a visual representation right here. It's not going to stay. Maybe with my papers. Maybe. My papers get lighter because I go through them, it might fall off. So have my little helper help me there. All right, so, I get to move a different page. It's good. It's not going to make it. Here, Caitlin, you just hold on to it. There you go. Thank you. And then I'll have you do something else here in a second. She's such a good helper. Don't make eye contact, whatever you do. I know, right. Good. Got to do it. All right, so in a worship service, flags are used as a visual tool to focus on. So during worship, let's just some real talk here. Do you ever get tired of just looking at the words up front? Come on, let's be honest. You don't? Well, that's good. You're the exception. Or do you ever you get tired of looking at the words, or you know the words, so you're like, well, I don't need to look at those words. And then you start looking at Chantel. And you're like, oh, that's a cool shirt she's wearing today. She has all black today, and her shoes are matching her shirt and matching her pants. And you start and maybe because I'm ADHD, I'm not, but maybe my brain is okay, words and Chantel. And then you start looking at the people doing their instruments, oh yeah, that's really good, that little trumpet. And this is where my brain goes. There's so many different things during worship. We are a distracted people. I'm a distracted people. There's so many different things to lose your focus. And so when you have a flag, Caitlin, it gives you something to focus. All you guys are now looking at my flag. It gives you something to focus on, which is really awesome. And I'm going to keep it right here. There's a little ledge. Yes, I figured it out. I was a cheerleader. Yes, I was. So anyways, it gives you something visually to look at in worship. So that is a good practical reason for flags. And also, what I normally do, because I get so distracted, you rarely will see me sit in the back row. You know why? Well, one, I cannot pay attention. I'm like, oh, so-and-so's hair looks really good today. Or like, I'm always looking, or like, oh, that person is swaying and that person's not moving. I'm too much of a busybody. So you rarely will ever see me in the back. I'll normally be up here. But then if I get really, really distracted, I just close my eyes. Like guaranteed, like I know I need to focus on the Lord. I can't do that if I'm looking at you guys or looking at anyone. And so like I just have to close my eyes. And so if you have your eyes closed, you can't be distracted. But then if you're doing something with your hand, you're like, oh, okay. And you can focus on the Lord a lot easier. That segues into my next reason for worship flags. Once again, this is very practical. It's not in the Bible. But another thing is, do you guys ever, well, I guess it is in the Bible, but do you guys ever wonder, so you're in worship, right? There's lots of different ways to express your worship in the Lord. You can just sit still. That's perfectly fine. But, we can do different things like Pastor Rocky said, you can clap your hands. That's awesome. You can sway. If you are a mom of any amount of kids, you sway. You will never not see me swaying. Like I'll be in the grocery store and I'm doing this. Like I'm bouncing a baby and I haven't had a baby in 7 years. I will practice with little Leah here coming soon. But you can also like have your hands like this as a way of surrender. Or you can have your hands like here. And if you get really wild, you can put your arms up like this. Or you can do one arm. If it gets tired, you can switch the other arm. Or if you really get crazy, you can go something like this. So there's different ways to move your arms. Because in reality, like, what do you do with your hands in worship? Like sometimes you can go right here and, if you don't want to be wild and do any of this level, you can put your hands right here. You definitely can't put your arms like this because that makes you look mad or bored. Like you can't do that with your hands. I guess you can do pockets, but if you're a female, none of your clothes have pockets because they haven't decided to put pockets in any of our clothing. And so then you do like the fail-safe. You're like, oh, I'm going to put my hands on the chair. I might sway. My hands are busy. I'm good. I'm worshiping the Lord. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but like, we got to do something with our hands. So if you have something in your hands, you can focus. It's like a fidget for adults. Like, I'm just being real. Like, kids love breaking it down. Yes, and so if you have something in your hands, and I'm going to definitely close my eyes, and you can do this, and it's giving you something to do with your hands, but you're also doing something in the spirit. It's like you're doing two things at once, multitasking at its finest. So there are just some practical reasons of worshiping with flags and banners. You can stay focused on this, and you got something to do with it. You can even switch hands, you guys. You can do one hand. Oh, this hand's getting tired. Oh, you can switch. And you get exercise all at the same time. It's just like multifunctional awesomeness at church. All right, that's just a little funny part of it. But it's reality, like you get to do something with your hands. All right, let's see, where am I? All right, in worship, the flag can be speaking when you use a flag or a banner or a streamer. It is speaking to the heart of the people towards God. So let's say I'm going to go through colors here in just a second. But for me, once again, we know that I have to focus. Like this is my way of worshiping the Lord. I'm doing this. It's speaking to the Lord. But then sometimes the Lord will give you a specific movement with the flag or a color to pick up to declare over someone else. So now we are taking ourselves out of the mixture. Woo! That's crazy talk right there. Us not thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about someone else. And there is power when we are declaring something over for somebody else. Like when I do rhythms at CFO this past year, I had everyone sit in the middle who are dealing with a particular issue, and then people who had gotten freedom from that issue, they were declaring and praying and doing flags over the people in the middle. And if you were at CFO, you saw the picture. I wish I would have put it up there, but I forgot about it. Up here, they're just worshiping, and I just snapped a picture. Just nothing exciting. I snapped a picture, and in the picture, you saw all these rays of light, which in reality maybe have come from the lights, but the way it hit, it was so powerful, and you could just see the Lord was doing something because people were declaring and worshiping over the people in the middle who needed it. So there is so much awesomeness when we get out of our own box and we think of other people and we start declaring and praying over other people. So it's a win-win. Like, we go and we worship the Lord with our flags, and then he comes back and says, hey, I love you, go love on that person. Like, it's just a super cool little communication that we're doing there. So in worship and warfare, the function of the flag is to, I did do a slide for that one, perfect, is to attract the attention of the people to God. So it is focusing squirrel-minded people like myself, like to focus us into the presence of the Lord. Number 2, to impact the heart of God. Like, we just don't worship for us. Like, yes, that's a wonderful byproduct, but we need to show him, hey, God, thank you for getting me through this week. This week was stinky. It was horrible. It was hard. And so you are worshiping and you are doing a physical representation of you saying, hey, God, this was awesome. Thank you for doing this in my life this week. And then, let's see, and God uses the things of this natural world to affect the things in the spiritual world. How many of you know that what you do in this realm can make huge implications? Like the kids just worshiping up here any Sunday morning, like it changes the atmosphere. Like you worshiping in the morning and getting your head right is going to change the atmosphere of where you're going throughout the day, at work, the grocery store, wherever. And so this is powerful. And like this is just a wonderful, powerful tool to be able to just use in everyday life. All right, so now we're going to get to the fun part. Caitlin, can you get out the red streamer for me? All right, you want to be my demonstrator? You can go down there. You don't have to be up here. I know it's a little scary up here. And those lights are in your face. Everyone's looking at you. You're looking at you right now. I know you're doing so good. All right, so you don't have to move it. You can just show it so people see red. All right, so the first color we're going to go. Oh, actually, no. Can you get the red flag? Get the red flag. That's even a little bit easier. Yes. She is doing a wonderful job. She's doing good. All right. You can just sit down and you can just hold it. So now we are visually having your attention goes towards the flag, so we're all focused, so we're not being squirrel. So red. Red means, and it represents the blood of Jesus. It also represents salvation. So let's say you are wanting to declare salvation over a family member in your life. You're going to go pick up that red flag and you're going to wave it. Now, I'm going to give you some hints with these flags. They're a little bit different than the other ones. But a lot of the kids, this is how they flag. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, it's okay, but there's so much more you can do. Let me make sure I'm not going to hit anything. So you can go from side to side. Like that does involve a lot more arm movement, and these are actually pretty big. Or you can kind of grab it here. You can go in the front. See how much different that is? If you want to go wild, go around in a circle. I mean, I know it's a little bit much, you know. And then I'm not going to do it with this one just because it has the stick. I'll show you the different movements with these flexible ones in just a second. There you go. Hold on to that one. So if you want to declare salvation or what the blood of Jesus has done in your life, go pick up that red flag. So in Ephesians 1:7, oh, there you go, already up there. It says, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses according to the riches of his grace. So if you want redemption through his blood, you go grab that red flag or grab a red streamer. Now, the streamers mean the exact same thing as the flags. They're just slightly more user-friendly towards the small people, and you can't poke out as many eyes with the streamer. But the streamers are actually pretty fun. Here, give me a streamer. So the streamers, of course, you can do. Now, anyone can do a streamer. Just a heads up, we have 35 streamers. That's a lot of people in here who can grab a streamer later. So a streamer involves very little space. You can just go like this, and that involves a lot. If you want to go really cool, you can go around in circles, and that's really cool. And a movement that we do, that I do in rhythms and different dance, is getting out of the, like when you're in the grave clothes, like when you're in an issue and like you can twirl around like this. I know it's a little coordination needed, but like if you want to get something out, twirl. I mean, there's no wrong way to do it or whatever. Or you can just go like this. Anybody can do a streamer. Hint, hint. Anybody can use a streamer in a few minutes. There you go. All right. So streamers, when I say flags, it applies to all these different ones here. All right. The next color, Caitlin, if you can get the gold flag and the gold streamer. All right, so yellow or gold, same thing. They represent the glory of God, which is really just the thoughts and opinions of God. It also represents his splendor, his beauty, and praise. So this is kind of like a one-size-fits-all. If you're not too sure what color to get, you cannot go wrong with gold. I mean, you can just grab gold. So we have a gold streamer, we have the gold flag, and any variation of yellow. And these streamers right here have all the colors. And so if you really have no idea or if you have all the issues, just grab this one. And then you guys are good to go. Or you can grab like two. So you're just like double dosing it or whatever. Once again, anyone can move these around. Just saying. It's giving you lots of hints of what's getting ready to happen. All right. So in Hebrews 1:3 it says, "And he is the radiance of his glory and the exact representation of his nature, and upholds all things by the word of his power. When he has made purification of sins, he sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high." So the radiance of his glory is gold. Cannot go wrong with gold. All right, the next one, Caitlin, green. I don't think we have a green flag, but we do have a green streamer. We have lots of green streamers, actually. All right, green means new life, like grass. Grass is green. Trees, plants, it means life. And so if you have something that's dead in your life, an area that has maybe died or is dying, or something that needs to come back to life, go grab something that is green. Once again, these are your cheat sheet ones. These cover them all. And then we also have the green. Well, we kind of have the turquoise. That's close enough. That's a close enough green. And then you have also the green streamer. And so in Psalms 92, 12 through 15, see, I need to get better contacts. That print's a little small. I'm glad I wrote it up here. All right. It says, "The righteous man will flourish like the palm tree. He will grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of the Lord, they will flourish in the courts of our God. They will still yield fruit in old age. They shall be full of sap and very green." So that just means life. And so if you are needing more life, grab something that is green. All right, next one is blue, which we do have a blue flag. You can just go with the streamers, Caitlin. You don't have to grab both. You're doing a great job, Caitlin. Is she not doing a great job? She's doing a great job. Oh, yes, that's my favorite color. It is the color of my eyes. I do like wearing that color. I do get more compliments. I'm just saying, just being real life here. It's my favorite color. I can't see anything out of my eyes, but I mean, you know, they're a pretty color. That's great. All right, blue. Blue means healing, and it also means heaven. So actually this morning when Mark wasn't feeling good, Bella prayed for him, and she grabbed the blue streamer because she knows, because she's a smart girl. Blue means healing. And so if you need something healing in your life, a physical healing, an emotional healing, grab something that is blue, and that will help declare healing or even heaven into the area in your life. Exodus 24:10. "And they saw the God of Israel, and under his feet there appeared to be a pavement of sapphire, as clear as the sky itself." So, in heaven, there is some sapphire as clear as the sky itself. That sounds pretty good to me. I will take that. So if you need some heaven, you need some healing, grab something that is blue. Now, this list is not like exhaustive. Like this is just little bits and pieces. Like if you really want to do a deep dive, there's all kinds of stuff on the internet. But this is just like, getting you in the right direction. All right, purple, royalty, my absolute favorite. There's so many cool things about purple. Here you go. All right, so Proverbs 31:22. She makes coverings for herself, her clothing in fine linen and in purple. So back in the day, purple was seen as a color for royalty because it was very expensive and difficult to make back in the Bible time. So if someone was wearing purple, you knew that their Nikes are really expensive, or your Air Jordans or whatever is expensive nowadays. You got the coolest Apple iPhone if it's purple. So purple is of royalty. And so if you need to feel like you're his daughter of the king, if you're the son of the king, and you don't know that, go grab something that's purple and declare it over your life. Declare it over a family member. Purple is fantastic. All right, white. You can grab the white, Caitlin. Should be right next to you. All right. So white means purity or the Holy Spirit. Interesting fact, white or the variation of white occurs 79 times in the Bible. It is the third most referenced color in the Old Testament behind the blue and red. So that's pretty cool. White is very important. Psalms 51:7. Purify me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Revelation 19:11. I don't know if I have that one up there. Nope, okay. Yeah, it's a freebie. It's a free verse. All right. It says, and I saw the heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it is called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. The horse of Revelation 19 represents righteousness, and it's rode by Jesus. Now you know I had to put a horse reference in there, and it happened to be white. My personal horse I've had for he's 31. I've had him for 28 years. He's white, so I'm just saying it's a great color. But white means purity. It means the Holy Spirit. So if you need and feel you need cleansing, you need to be clean over maybe some bad decisions you made, grab something that's white. Once again, if it's something for someone else, grab something that is white, and that will help declare purity over the situation. All right, and then silver. It's right next to it. Silver is really cool. It means value or redemption. It symbolizes value because God's word is described in value beyond silver. Psalms 12:6. Do I have that one? Nope. Hey, another freebie. Good job. The promises of the Lord are pure, like silver refined in a furnace and purified 7 times. The purification process was sometimes used as a symbol for the way God tests us and refines us. How many of you have been tested? How many of you feel like you've been refined? Just a smidge. A lot right here, a lot, But the interesting thing is with silver, they also do it with gold. But for the impurities, for, silver, the way they do it, they heat up silver. But it has to be heated really, really hot. And then the impurities will rise to the top. And then the silversmith will wipe off the impurities, make it hot, and they keep on going until it's pure. Same thing with us. Sometimes God adds some heat to us in order to have the impurities come up, when we feel like you're doing everything great and life is great, and then all of a sudden something comes up and you're like, oh, where did that come from? I thought I dealt with it. And then you deal with it, and then something else pops up. That's just the Lord refining you and causing you to be more pure. So silver is like the purification with that. What other verse I have on here? Yes, Psalm 66:10. You have tested us, O Lord, and you have refined us in the same way as silver is refined. And it says, I already did that. All right, silver is also associated with redemption largely because silver coins were used to redeem and purchase goods. And so if you feel like you need redemption in an area in your life, grab, we don't have a silver flag, but you can grab a silver streamer and just declare that redemption over your life. All right, last but not least, we have orange. Caitlin, can you grab the fire flags? They're just so much cooler than an orange streamer. So these are now these cool flags, like this one and the fire flags, I borrowed from a friend, and she let me borrow for this demonstration. But we are getting our own fire flags that will be coming in the mail whenever they feel like coming, hopefully soon. So these are fire flags. They are orange and red. They are actually two-sided. They're actually really cool. How cool is that? Very nice. And so the fire orange, you can just use one. That's fine. Represents the fire of God. It also represents deliverance. How many of us need deliverance in some areas in our life? Wow, nobody. Okay, I'm just up here all by myself. All right. Yes, thank you. We got some more honest people here. So anyway, so with orange, if you need deliverance in the area, if you just need to declare the fire of God, grab the orange flag, grab an orange streamer. Ezekiel 1:4 says, "As I looked, behold, a storm wind was coming from the north, a great cloud with the fire flashing forth continually and a bright light around it, and in the midst something like glowing metal in the midst of the fire." Woo! That sounds like something exciting. So that is what orange represents. And this one, I'm going to give you guys a test. Let's see how much you guys were listening to me. So what colors are in this one? Okay, so what do you think this flag means? Okay, what's yellow and gold? Remember? Glory of God. Yes, what about green? Life. What about blue? Healing. All right, so this one's like a triple whammy. Like, you're just like, I'm declaring it all. Like, so the flags we're getting, a lot of them do have lots of colors. And so then you just get to like a 3-for-1 deal. Like, it's better than buy one, get one free at Publix. Like, you get, buy 3, get 1. Like, So anyway, so that is the cool one right here. So I know that was a lot of information for you guys, but I think we had a lot of fun learning it. All right. Yeah. Do what? I do have one I am going to print. Yes, I'm going to put it next to all the flags. Yes, I didn't do it today, but I'm definitely going to do that. So if you guys have ever heard me speak at Blueprint or at the Well, I love some activation time. Now, don't tell me I didn't warn you. I told you guys what we're getting ready to do. So now it is time to take action. All right, so application time is my most favorite time. Diane is laughing over there. Yes, I know, right? So now the word I'm going to use is all of us. Now, I know there's some exceptions. If you absolutely cannot come up here and grab one or have someone grab one for you, that's perfectly fine. We do have a lot of material up here, and if you need my little assistant to hand you something, that will be fine too. But we're going to listen to a worship song. It is a very simple worship song. It literally has like 7 words that we just repeat over and over. But I did that on purpose so you don't have to get thinking about the words and looking up the front, because there's not going to be any words, and Chantel's not going to be up here. So you have to focus. Maybe we should all close our eyes, and then we can definitely focus. But we're going to do a song, and I want everyone to think about an aspect of what you learned today in worship. You can grab a streamer. If you don't know really what you need prayer for, you get a freebie. You can get one of these. We have a whole bunch of these. We have the flags, the fire flags. We have this one. Yep. So I want everyone to come up and grab something. If you need someone to grab you a color, I'm pretty sure someone would love to volunteer. And then we can also have these too. All of these are available. All of these are available. Yep. I can't.
Dad said he called me as I was texting him. He says he would call.
Okay. And we also have a large silver silk too. Okay, I also would like you guys, if possible, to spread out a little bit. You can go anywhere in here. All right, this is looking fun. We're getting there. All right. Does anybody else need a color or a streamer? Caitlin will bring it to you. Raise your hand and she will bring you something if you need it to be brought to you. Jacob, get off the stage, please. Oh, Bob. All right. It looks like everyone has a little bit of something. She's going to grab one that matches her outfit. All right. If I can get you guys to play that song, we're going to play a really cool song. It's very simple, and I want you guys, you can follow along with what I do, or you can just do your own thing, but just let's focus and worship the Lord with our weapons of warfare. We also have the mattahs too, if you want. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Your kingdom come, your will
as it is in heaven.
Good job, you guys. That was awesome. Great activation.